Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries. I am your host, Justin Allen, and as always, I'm here with
Moses Wartooth.
And we got some stories and news for you today, man. So, like normal, I think kind of start off with something a little entertaining, right?
Recent news story.
Yeah, something that came across my news feed about the great state of Alabama, or a gentleman from the great state of Alabama. So, I don't know. Why don't we just pull the clip, man, get straight to it, let the people kind of see what we're talking about.
Man made quite a splash at a Bass Pro Shop when he swam naked in a giant aquarium. Police say he crashed his car in the parking lot, took off all of his clothes, and went inside the shop in Leeds, Alabama. He jumped into the water yelling "cannonball." After swimming for a few minutes, he jumped out the side of the aquarium, landing on the concrete floor where two police officers waited. He faces several charges, including public lewdness and criminal mischief.
Oh, Alabama. My favorite state, dude.
Public lewdness and criminal mischief. But I thought it was funny that he crashed the truck outside, too.
Yeah.
So, was he just so excited to do this? He was couldn't wait?
I don't know. I think, my personal opinion, man, is I think that there had to be hard drugs involved in that.
So he was messed up on something?
Yeah, he was probably just cranked up on PCP.
What if he was like, I'm so hot.
I gotta get cold.
Yeah.
Takes off all his. It might be. I don't know.
He's Bass Pro Shops, they got water.
Yeah, it might be. A lot of those, uppers and stuff, they'll increase body temperature and stuff. So who knows? He might have just been really cracked out on some stuff. But talk about a hell of a day, go shopping with the family, and then you just see this dude run through and then just yell cannonball.
And he's ripping his clothes off, jumping into the fish tank. They have animals in the tank too.
Yeah, it's live fish and stuff, like bass and catfish.
Do any of them have gators or anything in there?
I know the one that used to be that was close to where I used to live. They had alligators, but it was in a separate cage thing. Yeah, they had a little swimming pool, and they just had them in there and just had cages around it.
Because those stores, they do have a lot of cool shit in there.
Yeah, man, they're cool. I always like Bass Pro. I don't know why. I'm not really surprised that happened, considering it's Alabama,
It seems pretty fitting to go with a Bass Pro Shop too. That's not really that uncommon, I wouldn't think, or unheard of.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Crazy rednecks, man. I don't know. He probably would eat. Who knows? But it's still
Asian.
wild. I just would like to imagine that there's probably some really clean cut traditional religious conservative Christian household there shopping, they just got out of church or something like that, and then it's a husband, a wife, and 3 kids, and then they're just all standing there and have to witness this happen in front of them.
Yeah. Oh God, Susie, hide your eyes.
I don't think I'd even freak out. I think I'd just laugh my ass off.
I would laugh my ass off.
Yeah, I'd just be oh my God. It's just, but in today's day and age, nothing surprised me anymore. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of yeah, whatever.
I wonder, surely someone got it on camera.
Yeah.
At least part of it.
Yeah. There was I saw almost looked like a Snapchat video too, but they had blurred out obviously the goods and all that stuff.
Generally.
Yeah, Oh man.
I wonder how long he managed to swim around in there. Did he just get tired of it?
I don't know. What do you do?
The cops were just waiting on him to get out. They
Yeah.
were just sitting back. They're he'll get tired of it eventually.
Eventually, he's got to come out of that.
Yeah.
He's going to get exhausted or hungry. I don't know. But imagine being a 16-year-old kid. That's your job, and then you're just what the hell just happened, And you up there mopping and shit,
So, they're I hate my job.
Yeah, some drunk or some high crackhead or whatever just ran in here, was hanging out in a fucking fish tank in front of the whole store. But I don't know, man. That entire region, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, basically anything
bottom.
Yeah, anything that's below I-20. I'm not surprised anymore, to be honest with you. So some wild people out those ways, man.
I like that stuff. brings comedy to my life.
Yeah. Good. Comedy's good, as long as it makes you laugh, right?
Some feel-good stories.
I want to know, what... imagine being, a police detective or whatever, and then you got to question this guy. This guy gets arrested, then you got to bring him in and be okay,
what led to this?
What events, caused this to happen in your life? Oh man, I've just been dealing with some stuff, going through some things. Okay. So that's why you crashed your car, got naked, and then jumped into a fish tank at a Bass Pro Shop. So
you didn't have anyone you could have called?
Yeah, most people just go to the gym or I don't know. Go to
Go
swimming
for
pool.
a jog.
Yeah.
A jog. Call your relative. Call a friend.
You know,
Sit at the house and drink a beer.
this guy's like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna go out with a bang. You know. So I don't know. I wonder how like mean they said he got a couple of charges. I wonder how serious those are. You know.
I don't know. The lewd. I mean, I guess my only issue with it would be like I'm sure there was kids that saw an adult man's stuff. Like that's unnecessary. If it was in an adult. Like at 21 and like at bar or some shit, that would just be funny. I wouldn't care.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know. Well, here's a question for you. You think that is enough to get you on like a sex offenders like registry?
That's a good question. I think
it's like indecent exposure, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, it wasn't listed as that. I don't know the difference between lewd behavior and my idea, whenever I hear indecent exposure, I think you physically run up to a kid and do the flash thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
or just
know.
somebody in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Which again, I only care about if it's a kid.
Yeah.
Like, if someone was to flash me, I would just be like, dude, get the fuck out of here. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But I would have a chuckle about it. I'm like, oh, like,
what the fuck just happened?
I'd call you like, you're not gonna believe what happened.
Well, because I know, like, I mean, this all ties into like the second half of this episode,
Yeah.
so a little foreshadowing. But I know, like, if you know, like people they'll go out drinking or whatever, right? And then like guys will be guys, like you got to take a leak after the bar closes or something. You go around back, go in the alleyway, whatever, like piss and do your thing, walk off, right? Well, I know that like I believe if you're within like so many feet of a school or a church and you do that, then like it's like you literally catch like some serious charges.
It's just
over
automatically or whatever, indecent exposure, whatever.
It's like aggravated. I want to say like aggravated, but like, yeah, like you're going to be a sex offender.
I'd be like, it is 2 a.m. There ain't a fucking child inside.
You know, it is 2 a.m. on
like, I looked around, I didn't
Saturday.
see anyone. You snuck up on my ass, but other than that, no one else
Anything,
saw.
I'm the victim
Yeah.
here. You know, get
No
outta
one
here.
watching me.
Yeah, man. So apparently that's like a thing or whatever. So I don't know. Be careful out
Careful
there.
where you piss.
Another one too that a cop friend of mine actually told me was like if you're hooking up with someone, like this is typically like some teenage shit or whatever, but like I guess young adults in general. But if you're hooking up with someone like in your car, for example, right, and it's like in a public place, you both go down as sex offenders if you're caught. Yeah, in Texas. I can't speak for other states, but in Texas, you're a sex offender. So you could be literally like 18-year-old guy, 18-year-old girl, completely consensual. They park somewhere. They're doing something,
Like
whatever.
in a park.
Yeah, or some shit like that. You know, kids will be kids or whatever, I guess. Or like just young people will be young people. It's a better term. But, and a cop rolls up and catches you, like they can push that on you.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I was like, damn, that seems a little fucking harsh. You know what I mean?
It's not like, I don't know, my windows were always tinted as shit. Like, really? Like, they're going to peek through, get them out. Like, again, the kids are not supposed to be here.
Yeah, like, I am the fucking victim
It
in this
is 1
situation.
a.m. Again, no kids are supposed to be out right now.
Oh, man, yeah. So, oh, God.
That's how you get hemmed up on some weird shit, man.
Yeah. Because then you're on like a list. You have to do the same shit that like real like psychos are having
you're
to
like,
do.
someone actually did some extremely messed up stuff.
Yeah.
And I was banging a 20-year-old, and I was 20.
Banging my girlfriend because we couldn't afford a hotel or whatever. You know, I don't know, man. But
Our parents were at home. We live at home. Like,
yeah. Holy shit, dude. But, you know, that's just the laws in Texas, man. So, I don't know. I felt like that was a little extreme. But we'll talk a little bit more about that topic. I do want to get back onto something that I think is really lighthearted and kind of cool, actually, recently. Katt Williams is making it back in the news.
oh yeah, he's blowing up right now.
And I am a fan of Katt Williams.
He's making a lot of allegations.
a lot. And if you, ladies and gentlemen, have not seen this, you need to check this out. It's
You're living under a rock. Like, this shit is everywhere.
yeah, dude. Like, I was like, holy fuck, when I was like listening to this podcast. What's the name of the podcast that he did? It was a
Shay Shay.
Club Shay Shay
Yeah.
podcast, right? And you know, like a 3-hour normal interview, but like Katt Williams is all over the place in this podcast.
It does
man.
make you question his sobriety in it. I mean, he claims that he is.
Well, that he's never done hard drugs at all. Like,
Well, I just meant like during the interview.
oh, did he? I didn't.
No, because it's like at some point the Shay Shay guy, I don't know, well, he goes by Shay. But anyway, Shay Shay is like, yo man, you've been drinking too much. And Katt is like, no, I've been sipping. He's like, you've been drinking. He's like, I've been sipping. But
No.
I seen that cup get refilled quite a few times, and he was sipping a lot.
Yeah.
So, and he the first sentence out of his mouth on the podcast was, "This is some strong cognac."
Yeah, dude.
So, do I think he came on there with the intention to say all that stuff? Yeah, he probably did. I mean, I don't think he just changed all of his shit. Like, I feel like he actually wanted to say that stuff.
I want to know how true all of that shit is.
I want to know also, because he called out damn near
everybody in Hollywood, damn near, yeah.
Every black person.
Yeah. I mean, like, really, like, every single rapper, like, comedians that he's worked with and stuff. I mean, he calls out, like, Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Ludacris. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
A lot of people.
So.
He only had good things to say about a couple of people.
Yeah. But
But people forget about his past.
Yeah, and that's when we started talking about it, and I was like, hey, like, you remember that little incident that happened when he kind of fell off the radar, where he got his ass kicked? So for those of you who don't know, like, we'll get into this whole podcast that, like, Katt Williams did here after this clip.
We need to preface it with this other video of what happened to Katt a while ago.
So this is like a couple years. Katt got, like, super popular, if you guys don't remember, and then he kind of fell off the radar, right? Like, I mean, some people were speculating, like, you know, hard drugs, like, whatever it may be.
He probably pulled a Dave Chappelle and I just went off. Like, I mean, I don't know.
I imagine, like, getting that famous that quickly probably is a lot to fucking handle, dude.
But if the shit that he was saying was true, it would fall into the self-respect category of, like, he didn't want to play the game and, like, he just wanted to get out and get away from it. So, but who knows? Like,
I don't know. But then I look at, like, people who are, like, really famous and really wealthy, like, what is it, Matt Stone and Trey Parker from South Park? Or is it Trey Stone, Matt Parker? God,
no, you got it right the first time.
Gotta get flip-flopped. Anyway, I think those guys are worth like $500 million, you know, and they're just normal.
Well, I mean, normal as far... I mean, they did acid and wore dresses to the fucking... What was it, like, the Grammys or the Emmys? Or
yeah, that was the first and last time they were ever invited.
Yeah.
I watched the interview about it. That was kind of funny, too, but I think they were in their 20s when they did that shit.
And no one told them to. That shit was hilarious. Like, they did that because they wanted to.
They wanted to make a whole joke out of it.
Yeah, and it was. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny if you ever watch that, like, 6 Days to Air, like, documentary or whatever.
Yeah.
They're talking about it. They're, like, saying that other big actors were, like, getting pissed. And they were like, no, like, fuck you. Like, this is my life. Like, I've worked my whole life. Yeah, they were like, you're
making a joke of my fucking life's work type shit.
And they were like, yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing.
You do know the show we make, right? Like, its entire fucking livelihood is making fun of people.
And I just remember, like, whenever they made fun of Scientology, the Church of Scientology actually hired private investigators to, like, follow them around for, like, a year. Dug through their trash, all kinds of crazy shit to try to get dirt on them, to, like, blackmail them and be like, hey, or expose them or whatever, discredit them in some way. And they couldn't find anything. They basically just came to the determination that they were just really normal guys, just had, like, families. And they, like...
That's why fucking Chef quit, because he was a Scientologist.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Like, again, if you're trying to find dirt on people like that, like, what do they have to be ashamed of? What do they have to hide? What do they care about? Not very much, I wouldn't think.
Well, that's what I like about, like, comedy and, like, especially long-form dialogue, too. If you do it right, you have nothing to hide.
Exactly. If you truly... If you say what you feel and mean, like, you shouldn't really have to go back on yourself.
Yeah, like, if we never change how we are and say we were to, like, at some point, like, make some decent money or have some decent influence in all this, then... There's nothing that could come out of our past where they'd be like, oh, but you did this.
I'd
or
be like,
whatever.
have you seen the shit we post online, man? Like, come on, like, you think I'm gonna try to hide this?
Yeah, no shit. But then you got to think, like, the people that build personas and stuff, they kind of fall into that, and they have to kind of always, like, constantly protect that persona or whatever, that facade or whatever.
Well, that becomes who they are.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're in public, you have to be that person. So, and then they get pissed, and it normally destroys their actual, like, their emotional life and mental shit too.
Yeah, if you do that, and I think, you know, that wears and tears on you, and then also being famous. So I think Katt, man, once he had those couple of, like, big hit comedy specials, like the Pimp Chronicles.
Those were hilarious.
They were funny as hell. One where he was in a green suit.
Yes.
Dude, it is so funny, man.
And he pours sweat.
Like, yeah. I bet it's hot as hell under those lights, too, dude.
And, dude, that was a velvet suit. Like, that's hot as shit.
That's not breathing, dude.
No.
You know? So I think, I don't know, I think whatever he went through kind of got to him, and I think he kind of cracked for a little while or whatever, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But I think that he built this persona of, like, being a pimp and being, like, hood and all this other stuff, right? And I don't really think that's, like him at all. You know what I mean? So this video clip is when he kind of fell off the wagon.
Yeah,
he was hanging out in the hood.
He just kind of proves he ain't no pimp or no gangster or no nothing.
Cause you had to watch a fucking. You just gonna play it, man?
Yeah, they got to see this. Oh man.
You're watching When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong.
Yo, Tanisha, it was good seeing you.
Darius heard the comment and had a simple choice to make. Ignore what the man had said and take Tanisha home. Or stay at the party and keep it real.
I don't play that shit. That's my girl, nigga. I keep it real.
What Darius didn't know is that Chris was a 10th degree black belt who started trouble just so he could practice his karate and street fighting scenarios. What ensued was one of the most spectacular ass whoopings ever witnessed in the Atlantic Northeast. Viewer discretion is advised. Darius lost 4 of his teeth, fractured his arm, spine, and pelvis.
Oh, that kid. The kid's like, he's a teenager.
Yeah, he's underage.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder, like, what is Katt Williams doing? Like, hanging out, like, in a park, like, in the hood somewhere or something like that. You know what I mean? And then why you start, like, grown-ass man starting to fight with, like, kids? Because at that point, he's probably, like, in his 40s.
Yeah.
You know? Like, what the fuck was he doing down there? I don't know.
I feel like probably he probably went. I don't know. I feel like he probably went down there for like maybe to help some kids or like just fucking. I don't know. Probably not start shit. But then the other dude definitely seemed to be the aggressor.
Yeah.
And then Katt was like, "I'm a grown ass man." Like
that was also like the time around where like World Star like hip hop was like really
huge.
Popular. So like people would just do dumb shit and scream like World Star. So it could have been like some shit like that.
True.
But that kid beat the brakes off his ass. That's for sure, man. And I guess it's always like a hell of a story. Imagine like being able to hang out with your friends and be like, "Hey man, remember that time you beat the shit out of Katt Williams?" But Katt Williams is also like 4'11". So,
yeah,
I mean,
he's a
like,
small man. It's not much to brag about, but just the story in itself is funny.
It's like you're what, like 6 foot?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's not even remotely like a comparison or whatever. But yeah, man. I don't know. But. You know, I just wanted to bring that up. Or we wanted to bring that up, you know, just to kind of remind you guys of the person we're dealing with. But to go back to the recent podcast that he did, he does say some crazy shit in this episode, man. And, I mean, we've talked about the comedians that he's just basically shit on. And then he also starts talking about, like, the Illuminati and all kinds of crazy shit. Like
Harvey Weinstein gets brought into the mix.
Is the Harvey Weinstein part in this clip? I don't think it is. Shit, do you want to tell that story?
I mean...
Or do you want to watch the clip first?
Yeah, let's watch the clip. Then
all right, cool.
Toss some shit on. But, yeah, here. Club Shay Shay. And by the way, this blew up this dude's podcast. Because his other shit I looked, it had like 1 million to 2 million views. Yeah. And this one has 31 million views in the past 4 days.
Good God, that's a lot.
Yeah. So keep that into consideration. Could it have been some kind of a stunt? Who knows?
Are you related to Luda?
No, so there was a crossroads where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us, we were equal. One of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more with the points. And the next person, they said, was going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 movies. And that's how the conversation happened. One of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done it. Remember I told you that if I say that, it applied to 7 people?
Yes.
It's part of what they give you. Okay? I didn't get it. I'm not mad about it.
How much money they give?
Sounds a little bitter.
200.
Sir.
200
Fast and Furious is on what number right
10.
now?
200 million. I might need to get me one of them old women to look the same.
That's what they all end up saying at the end of the day. Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay.
Because he in this podcast he really like lays into Kevin Hart later too, man, and basically
calls him an industry plant
and all that stuff, man. So I would like to imagine that like not everything's completely unfounded, but some of the stuff sounds like crazy out there. And I'm a conspiracy theorist. I believe in conspiracies, right? But it's hard for me to think that like the Illuminati is like having like some meetings with Ludacris and Katt Williams.
You need to shave them sideburns, bro, or you can't join.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I think there's probably like bigger things that they're trying to do there.
Yeah,
you know?
And another instance, he was talking about somebody. He was like, they turned down $50 million 4 times, and then he was like, only a crazy man would do that. And then like the next sentence, he was like, now I have turned down $50 million multiple times.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, man.
What are you talking about?
It's entertaining to say the least. Like,
for sure.
For sure, man. Like, so I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to go down the conspiracy. Well, I'm trying, all right. We've talked about it before, but do you actually think there's an Illuminati?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not in the sense where like, I don't know, but as far as like, I do believe that there is a elite group of people that control a lot of everything that goes on.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could see like probably more of like a loose net of people. I don't think it's like highly organized and like sophisticated, like people
like sitting at a round table.
Yeah, I don't think there's any of that. You know, like, oh yes, launch the plague, screw it, let go. I don't think there's any of that going on, man. But I don't know. I mean, because they have the shit like the Bilderberg group and stuff, man, and like all those guys, they meet and it's like the world's richest people, and they get together and they discuss shit like population control is a big one that always comes up, food and all that crap, housing, energy and all that crap. So I don't know, but I just think, man, I just feel like Hollywood is not that organized. You know what I mean? Like, I really just think that a lot of it is just shooting from their hip.
I don't feel like fucking Hollywood is in control. I feel like people control Hollywood.
Yeah, well,
and they tell them like what to do and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know for a fact there's definitely some sort of influence and stuff. I mean,
yeah, 100%.
Because we've covered it before. Like, there's like 3 trading firms in America that control like fucking 80% of like the S&P or the Nasdaq. I believe it was 80% of the Nasdaq, or was it the S&P 500? I can't remember.
I think it's the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it was like BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Mm-hmm. And I actually watched a dude doing some analysis over it, and he even went like further into it, and it's pretty crazy, man. You're like, whoa, all right. Like, these guys have some interesting points of views as far as where they put their money, man, and like who they pit against what. So I don't know. But I don't know, man. Did you get the feeling, like the vibe that like Katt Williams is on drugs during that interview?
I don't think he's on drugs.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just like, saying crazy shit to try to like reignite his career or something like that. I
mean,
because he had a Netflix special that came out, I believe, 2019, and it like bombed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was saying he had like 12 Netflix specials. I don't know if that's true or not, but he said that multiple times on the podcast.
I only remember seeing, I think, one.
I only remember like...
It was actually filmed by Netflix.
Yeah, like I only remember like 4 of his actual stand-ups. I don't really follow his career that close, but I don't remember 12.
Well, maybe he's got a deal with Netflix to do a shit ton of them.
That could be.
Yeah. Like Dave Chappelle did or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do like 10 specials or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dave Chappelle's new special?
No, not his most latest one.
Oh, it's good. I liked it. Once again, he's getting in trouble, so but he's just not.
It's good, man.
Yeah, he's not backing down all shit, so. But I don't know. Katt Williams did mention something that I thought was interesting, man. He was talking about like Kevin Hart getting in a dress and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember when Dave Chappelle kind of went, I don't know, off the reservation for a little while, right? Like, one of the final interviews he did was with Oprah. Do you remember that shit?
No.
Well, Oprah brought him on because he like went crazy, and that was when he burned like that $25 million check and was like, F you up to Comedy Central. I'm not doing another season.
Yeah, he wasn't doing this season.
Yeah. He was talking to Oprah, and he was like, yeah, man, like, all of a sudden, like, they were like trying to, he was just essentially was like alluding to like some Illuminati shit as well. And he was like, hey, like, they were trying to get me to wear a dress. And he said he started looking around, seeing like all these other like major comedians, like Martin Lawrence was a famous one, like Big Mama's House.
Oh yeah.
He's like all these comedians they were trying to get like
going in drag.
Yeah, I think he said like brothers, like he specifically talked about like black comedians and stuff, like trying to get them to basically do drag. Yeah, and he was like, I'm not fucking doing it. You know, so I don't know, you know, but it's also like Hollywood, man, and like when trends come around, they just keep trying to roll with it, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll milk that shit till there's nothing left.
Yeah, there could be anything that's popular at the time. Like, there's gonna be tons of movies.
Oh yeah, they're gonna pump it into the ground.
Yeah, you know, but so who fucking knows? But
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
I feel like, I don't know. Like, I do think some of the shit that he says has merit, and then other. And
I'm a firm believer there's no smoke without a fire, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even like Dave Chappelle talked about Martin Lawrence, like he had an incident where he like quote unquote smoked PCP, freaked out, ran out in the streets. I believe he was either naked or he was in his underwear. And he kept screaming, I think he might have had a gun. He kept screaming, help, help, they're trying to kill me. And he was like alluding to like these higher powers that control everything in Hollywood. And he was saying that pretty much basically it was like these higher forces in Hollywood that were like manipulating everyone. And he was like kind of cracking under the pressure, was like, I don't want any part of this or whatever. So
was it that or the PCP?
I don't know, you know? And then like when I think PCP, I think back to that fucking movie Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story, where he finally smokes PCP and he runs into the streets naked, then he like flips over that car with barehanded. He's like, when he crawls on top of that like building, what he was screaming like, I'm a god, or like I'm your king, or some shit like that, you know? Dude, I've heard that's some nasty. I don't do drugs, man, but I've heard PCP's like some nasty shit, dude. Like,
yeah, I've seen videos of people like they're all. It must make them hot. Maybe that's Alabama Man. Maybe he was on PCP because most videos I've seen, the people are just butt ass naked and they're walking down the road. They're doing like I saw one. It was a huge dude. He was fucking jacked. And the cops were already called. Like, they tased this dude 3 times. He still acted like nothing fazed him at all. And then he was walking beside a full board fence, and he just started punching. And every time he would just punch a full board off the fence, and it was just falling off.
It's like superhuman strength.
Yeah, just doing that shit. And then finally, it took like 4 dudes. They fucking he still had the fucking taser clips like in him, but they eventually tackled him to the ground and arrested him. But it was like. He was like a Superman.
I saw one, they were trying to tase a guy, and once again, tasers didn't work. I think they hit him like 2 or 3 times. Like 2 or 3 different officers did or whatever. And then finally they released a dog on him. And the dog jumps and goes to bite his arm or whatever. He just grabs the dog by the head, slings it, hits it like against the wall. The dog yelps and like runs off and shit. And he was like, "What the fuck are you?"
The dog's
do?
like, "Hell no."
Yeah, and he looks at the cops. He's like, "What are you gonna do now? Like, what do you do?
Shoot him?
Yeah,
I'd shoot him."
Yeah, it's just you're like, "Fuck, dude." This guy's like superhuman strength.
The dog is considered an officer too, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's. Yeah. I mean, there's actively assaulting an officer.
Felony
you gotta shoot him.
You know. So I mean, I would.
You ain't gotta blow his brains out. You blast some kneecaps.
Catch one in the knee or something. Yeah. You know, like, bam! Oh fuck, my knee. Damn, dude. Yeah, I've never done it. Obviously,
I have no desire to do that shit.
yeah. Because I think a lot of it too is like it'll give you it has a high like tendency, the potential to like, give you like cardiac arrest and stuff.
Yeah,
like
well, I mean that's why it gets so hot.
Yeah, because you're just hard. You know, like that fucking Crank movie with Jason Statham or whatever.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I like the first one. I didn't like the second one that much.
Yeah, the first one was awesome. The second one is like over the top, just pushing, just trying to be crazy with it.
Once again, Hollywood, whatever's popular, they're just gonna steamroll it as long as possible.
Did they make a Crank 3?
No,
I don't know if they did.
I don't think so. But they did put Jason Statham in a fuck ton of like super shitty B-rated like action movies. And they did the same shit with Liam Neeson. But both those guys had extremely popular movies, right? Like early on. And so I think they just kept steamrolling, got him to sign shitty contracts.
I haven't seen anything out of Jason Statham in a while, but I did see he's on some new thing now, like a new upcoming thing I saw, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, really? Yeah, there's a new movie, I think it's called Beekeeper, coming out or whatever. He's in it. So.
Yeah, that must be it.
Yeah, I mean, like one of his last movies he did was like Meg 2.
Oh, yeah, the fucking shark thing.
Yeah, dude, it's like, come on, man. No, excuse me, but yeah, I don't know, man, so... I don't know. Hollywood's all fucked up. The game's all fucked up. So I don't think Katt Williams was completely speaking out of school, but it's also Katt Williams, so, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I mean, people have already started to, the people he was calling out have already started to respond back to it and a lot of stuff, but I have noticed that I haven't heard anyone just straight up call him a fucking liar. Yeah. They've kind of been explaining the situation, but they haven't really just been like, no, he don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Maybe it could also be like a whole thing of like, don't engage with crazy.
True.
You know what I mean? Like if someone like came after like us and they were making some crazy allegations of like, oh, we're a member of like some like organization or like an elitist group or some crap like that, like I would just be like, don't even respond to those comments.
I'd be like, I need the paperwork because where's my money at?
Where's my fucking $200 million? I don't give a shit.
I ain't been in a single damn movie. So with that,
he sounded a little bitter about that, didn't he?
Yeah, multiple times he was like, "I'm not bitter. He's like, I'm not a petty person. I'm just saying." I was like, some of this shit's kind of petty.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
I want that money. What were you gonna say? Sorry, man. I cut you off.
The fucking speaking of the $200 million in 20 movies, with the ludicrous shit, he was like, he's done 10 movies. So does that mean there's gonna be 20 goddamn Fast and Furious movies?
I think he was just like implying that like Ludacris was going to be doing a lot of movies in a relative short amount of time.
I mean, he's done the 10 Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, but I think he was only in like 7 of them or something like
really?
that. Or like 6 of them. Because he wasn't in the first. No, he was in the second one. He wasn't in the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also haven't watched all those. Like, I think I got to like the 3rd or 4th one, and I was like, these are literally like the biggest pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they're trash. I hate them.
And so,
I watched the Tokyo Drift, whatever fucking number that is.
Yeah, that was the 3rd one.
Okay, then, that.
And then there's like, I think like on one of the later ones, man, there's like a scene where like Ludacris is like literally like driving a car in space.
I think that's the most recent one.
Like that's it's fucking retarded, dude. I'm sorry. I mean, people gotta start calling it like it is, man. We're getting all these shitty movies and all this stupid
if
woke
people
crap.
would stop going to see it, I mean, if it raises enough money, they're gonna continue to crank that shit out. So if people are stupid enough to go watch that bullshit, just like all the woke ass Disney shit that's been failing, like people don't go see it. Yeah. They at least lose money on it. They're like, okay, maybe we should shut up and go back to the drawing board.
They're actually starting to pivot on all of that shit.
They are. They redid the whole Snow White fucking thing.
There's the allegation that's because South Park made fun of them with the Pandaverse.
Oh, really?
You haven't seen that special?
No, I've still been meaning to watch it.
It's like a 45-minute special or whatever they did. It's called the Pandaverse, like pandering to shit or whatever. Mm-hmm. And dude, literally the entire time they just shit on Disney. And there's like a multiverse or whatever, so like in the other like universe, every character is it's like the most diverse like demographics you could ever imagine. Like I think like Cartman is like a strong independent black woman. And then they like her like the Cartman in that universe and the normal Cartman, they get flip-flopped. And so like now they got this black lady wandering the halls and she's like, Stan, it's me, Cartman. And they're like, yeah, whatever, lady. Like he's like, no, god damn it, it's me. So but apparently like that got released and then I think it was like a week later like Disney Canex like the whole Snow White thing or whatever. So
people already hated it, but the actress that was playing Snow White, I watched an interview of her before that, and she was like, "Oh, it's gonna change the game. It has nothing to do with the other one." And then after they changed, she was like, "It's gonna really hold strong and true to the classic that we all know and love." Like, shut up. But on a side note, or bringing it back in, I guess, Fast and the Furious, Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Well. Have you ever met anyone who actually just loves Fast and the Furious, though?
I think I have.
I've met a few fucking people. But I just had to ask that before we go into it. But Vin Diesel, like you were saying,
he loves Fast and the Furious.
I bet he does, man.
He loves some other things, too, allegedly.
He's in some hot water right now, man. So there was a new bill that was passed in California. Essentially, I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it allows victims of sexual assault, sexual abuse to file a civil suit whenever they want. Like there is no like statute of limitations on filing that case or anything like that. Now that's separate from the criminal aspect.
So they have the certain amount of time for the criminal, but then even the civil has no time limit.
Yes.
Okay.
So a few people have already, and I believe the law came into effect back in December, but a few big ticket people, big headline names, have been caught up in this. And one of them is Vin Diesel. Another one is Tommy Lee Jones, the drummer from Motley Crue, with the old Pam Man sex tape back in the day, but whatever. Jeremiah Johnson's another one.
Who is that?
I'm not sure, man. I mean, he's some famous guy or whatever, but I'm not really sure who he is. You want to look it up real fast?
Yeah.
But so let's see, actor.
That guy?
No, that's a football player, brother. Yeah, film right there. Yeah, he's an actor. But
this is a Western film. That's the film.
Oh no, that's the name of the film.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Whatever. I'll keep talking about it. Like, see, but if you can get somewhere with it. He was an older guy too, so because his case goes back to like 1988. So,
okay, I was gonna say this says a Mexican-American war veteran, but this is again referring to the movie, not Jeremiah Johnson. So whatever.
Sorry, I got a little distracted there for a second. Shows you how important this guy probably is. You can't find shit about him. But anyway, watch him be like some very influential like character.
I mean, he has to be, or he wouldn't be with such names as Vin Diesel.
I don't know.
Tommy Lee.
I don't know, man, because like remember that time like we were like crawling across like or trolling through like TMZ and we were like, oh, let's just find like some, you know, celebrity like e-news kind of shit, and we were like, who are these people?
Yeah, but that's because we don't pride ourselves on rotting our brains with mindless celebrity bullshit.
Yeah. So. I mean, I just remember there being like a list of like news, and there was like a shit ton of stories, and we didn't even recognize a single name on there.
I mean, I don't watch current movies at all. I barely watch movies anyway. I don't watch current TV. Like, I don't watch current media stuff. Yeah. I just don't care about it.
But anyway.
But Vin Diesel.
Yeah, going back to Vin Diesel. So anyway, so like this bill, like, you know, it doesn't put there's no limitations to when a victim of sexual assault or sexual abuse can file a claim for a civil suit. So plaintiff and defendant and all that stuff, right? So with that being said, one of the names that we talked about earlier that's come up is Vin Diesel. And, I mean, he's already got some shit about him that I think is kind of...
Vin Diesel is a weirdo. I'm like, he's weird.
You know it better than me, but that interview he did with that girl?
Yeah. He's done an interview with a girl, and she was very professional. Obviously, it was her job to interview.
Like a legit journalist.
Yeah. And, like, he sat down with her in a room, and then he was just... basically just not even paying attention to her and just straight up hitting on her. He was like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're beautiful. And she was like, thanks. Okay.
She was like,
on to the next question.
Clearly trying to be
she
like,
was clearly uncomfortable and freaked out. And he was just like, oh, baby, what's up? Like,
when he like talking like taking her out and shit like that and stuff.
Yeah, like just uncalled for bullshit that clearly she was not reciprocating. Like, just shut up, dude, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. You know?
But apparently he doesn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Because you know the specifics on the most recent allegation.
Oh god. So apparently Vin Diesel had this essentially like secretary, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so this is the allegation that's being brought up in the civil suit against him. Okay. And he, you know, she did a bunch of shit for him, like whatever, some scheduling stuff, get coffee, like whatever, like basic normal secretarial stuff, right? And so anyway, this was just after Fast 5 came out. So he's probably on like cloud 9.
Oh yeah, he's feeling big.
Like he's king of the jungle, right? You know what I mean? Because isn't he like 5'6" or some shit like that? Like, he's short.
He's a short dude.
Yeah, like real short guy.
That's why he looks so jacked.
Yeah, and then also too, like if you go back and look at like a lot of movies he's in and stuff, like he wears like boots with like thick ass soles and shit on too. Another guy was the guy who plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Oh shit!
Did I ever tell that story about how I met that guy?
Yes.
And he's like a total asshole. I can't remember. I know I told you. I can't remember if I told.
I think you did on an early episode.
Might have to tell that story again. But that dude was an asshole. But like, because I'm 5'10", and like that dude, like the top of his head came to like the center of my chest.
That's probably why he's an asshole.
I think so. Yeah. He was a
Napoleon
dick.
complex.
Yeah, it completely like now like even if I rewatch the series like it just kind of ruins it because I'm like that guy's an asshole.
You're like you're nothing to me.
You're nothing to me. But if you go back and look, like when they have scenes like when they're sitting at like a diner like table or whatever, like his body will physically be closer to the camera.
He's sitting on phone books.
Yeah. And then if you look at his soles are like a couple inches thick and shit like that. And they'll always have him like how he always had like really good posture.
Yeah, he was always like.
And he's sitting on mats and shit like that to like raise him up. But there's a few times you can kind of see it, but go back and look and just remember that guy's like.
I'm gonna have to remember to look at his damn shoes every time.
Yeah. Once you notice it, you can't get it out of your head, man. Like some Ron DeSantis shit. You hear that crap? We're gonna tie this all back into Vin Diesel in a minute, but Ron DeSantis did an interview. I believe it was Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher, HBO talk show or whatever. Mm-hmm. I believe that's the interview that they were referring to, and. He's wearing like black cowboy boots. He's wearing a suit, but his shoes are black cowboy boots. and it just looks weird as fuck. Like, they're not bending at the ankle how they should. And so...
Like there's a heel in there?
Yes. And so there's rumors surfacing, and apparently 2 professional shoemakers who design shoes and stuff like this have confirmed. They're like, hey, like, those are heels inside that boot.
Okay.
And but it essentially, like, where he's basically walking on high heels at all times because he's just short as fuck. So, whatever. But anyway, so to go back to Vin Diesel shit, so he had this secretary, right? And so they just got done filming Fast 5, and I guess they were all back at the hotel, and Vin Diesel, like, had a bunch of girls in his room he was, like, partying with or whatever, I guess, or some shit. And this secretary, she said in the documents that essentially she was preventing paparazzi from getting near them to take photos. She was kind of like a buffer between him and, like, the paparazzi trying to get everything right.
He should have had a bodyguard, but what?
Yeah, you would think, right? Like, like, if honestly, man, like, we talked about it before, but, like, dude, if I got, like, a bunch of people ever, like, following my ass like that, I'm gonna have at least 2 bodyguards, like, just to fucking push people off you, you know what I mean? Like, get out of my face. But
I'm gonna have a suitcase chained to one of them like Travis Scott.
Yeah,
so they go for that if there's just nothing in it.
Just absolutely nothing in it. Or an IOU slip.
Full of rocks or some shit.
It's literally Monopoly money. Son of a bitch. But so anyway, I guess the party's over, and Vin Diesel just has, like, I'm assuming, like, a raging case of blue balls, because from what I inferred from these court documents was that he did not get laid at that party. That's what it sounded like to me.
Got a little disgruntled.
Yeah, but I think he got hot and bothered, right? But anyway, so apparently, and if this is true, I mean, it's, like, absolutely unfortunate, but I do believe it, like, just based on kind of how I've seen, I don't know, like, his body language and his dynamics with women and stuff like that, like, social dynamics, I'm kind of like, I could see there being something to this, you know what I mean? But, so apparently she came to his room or whatever, and then he forcefully, like, pushed her up against the wall and was, like, groping her, grabbing her and all this other stuff, and, like, trying to make out with her, and she was like, no, like, this isn't happening.
Get off of me, you
Denying
short
it.
bitch.
Yeah, and then in the documents, it says, I say document, like, it's actual documents. So, like, I'm just used to doing quotations, sure. Like, but what is that, Dr. Evil? He's always doing that shit, but anyway, so in the documents, it says that he forcefully grabbed her hand and then placed it, like, on his erect penis, right? Like, and then she kind of pulled away, and then he basically just pinned her against the wall and just started, like, violently masturbating.
That's weird.
But I don't think there was any, like, penetration or anything like that. I think she was able, like, to get away with stuff. So she filed.
So she pushed him off, but he was like, "You're gonna sit here and take it." Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah. So
and that's weird.
It's just weird, man.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's creepy.
Yeah.
So, who was the other one I said? Oh yeah, Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee, yeah.
Yeah, this guy. I should not be laughing at this shit. So,
well,
I'm not laughing at the victims.
No,
like,
we're laughing at the men, because because
they're just fucking retarded.
Yeah.
And they're, like, fucking psychos. And I don't even know why half these people are even famous anyway. Honestly, famous. Like,
but we don't. Again, we don't know if this shit's true. So
it could be completely unfounded, man. But because remember, these are civil suits. These are not criminal cases.
Yeah.
So none of these people ever called the police or reported a crime.
No, and ever. How long ago did this shit happen?
So whenever Fast 5 came out, the one for Tommy Lee, I believe. Oh shit, I believe it was like a solid, like, decade ago, man. Like, it's been a minute. The Jeremiah Johnson one, that
you said that shit was in 88.
1988. Yeah.
That one, I don't. Do you know the situation on that one?
So what is that? 36 years.
Yeah.
The Jeremiah Johnson. All right, let me get through the Tommy Lee one because there's, like, a bunch of facts, like, floating around in my head, and then we'll go into the Jeremiah Johnson one if I can remember. It's starting to get a little hazy. It's been a minute since I read that article, but anyway, so Tommy Lee Jones, he is flying with, like, his friend of his or whatever, private helicopter, right? Mm-hmm. Friend is a pilot. This woman gets invited on the helicopter. And at the time, she has no idea that Tommy Lee is going to be on this helicopter. And so this pilot invites her, and they're going to fly somewhere in California or whatever. It's like an airstrip. And I guess at the last minute, Tommy Lee got on the helicopter and was sitting in the cockpit. That's what they said. And that basically from the back of the helicopter you couldn't really see anything. So Tommy was like, hey, come sit up here at the cockpit, was like very like pushy about it. Like, hey, come sit with us. And she was like,
come sit in my laptop shit.
Yeah, she was like, well, there's no room. And he was like, well, you can sit in my lap. And so eventually like she caves to like the pressure and does it. And then he, I can't remember if it actually said that she performed oral sex on him, but I believe he might have, I don't know, but he attempted to, because what was the charges? Damn. But he essentially attempted to solicit oral sex from her, right? And like, hey, like, suck my dick while we're flying.
He was like, we're on a helicopter.
Yes.
You understand the implication.
It's all about the implication. It's always sunny.
It's always sunny reference. Yeah.
Nothing bad is going to happen. It's just the implication that something could happen, right? God. Someone clips that out. That's going to get us fucking buried on the internet somewhere. But, so anyway, like, and I guess he's like groping her and shit like that or whatever. So they end up landing, and then he books it, man. He's just like, he gets on. Like he gets in an SUV and drives off or whatever the fuck, and yeah. But the charge, I believe it was called gender abuse, and that was the first time I ever heard it, and I was like, what is that exactly?
Sounds like some New Age California bullshit.
So once again, I don't think that there was any like forceful like rape or anything like penetration. Like, you would think in like a traditional sense. Now the Jeremiah Johnson guy, I almost kind of want to pull this up on my phone, man. If I can get to it.
Because if you like that happened in 1988.
Yeah, I his story, because it is so long, I do kind of want to get like straight, you know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, my main thing is if it happened that long ago, that's going to be hard for anyone to remember details.
Yeah, and that's what has me concerned, man.
I mean,
it's
like, and I'm sure if the action or whatever happened, if it did happen to the victim, I'm sure that is like the instance is probably ingrained in the person's head. I would assume that if something traumatic like that happens, you probably remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but also, I mean, there is a thing where, what do you say? Like, I don't want to say the validity, but like the credibility of a witness, just in general for any crime, of a witness's statement basically depletes over time. There's like a level of diminishing return, you know? So that's what has me concerned, because I can't remember what I mean, which it is a traumatic event, so it's going to stand out a lot fucking more. That's for goddamn sure, you know? But I can't even remember what the hell I did last week, you know what I mean? So, here, I got the article pulled up. I'm just getting to the part for the Jeremiah Jones guy.
See if it says who he is.
I don't know, man.
If anyone knows.
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. It's Michael Jackson's brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did that not come up when we Googled that?
I don't know. Who knows? It could be the Illuminati watching the internet.
Blackball him.
So I'll just read this little part, man. But it says, in spring of 1988, defendant Jackson forced himself... Oh, so the woman has remained anonymous. Some of these women chose to remain anonymous. Into the plaintiff's home, and with force and violence sexually assaulted the plaintiff. The lawsuit states, this woman's name did come out in this. So
he broke into her house?
I believe that's what it's looking at, or like forcefully kicked the door into her house. She claimed that during the assault, she prayed to God for help, feared for her life, in quotes, and the defendant Jackson was... when he was satiated, he left the residence. Yeah. So like basically when he was done, he just fucking
ran out.
Yeah. So it sounds like he broke in, raped this chick forcefully, and then left.
Damn.
Yeah. But this is in 1988. And once again, there was never, like, from what I've gathered, like, there was never any, like, criminal complaints. Like,
nothing.
The victims never
didn't even call the cops.
Police.
Why would you not call the cops?
That's, you know, I mean
even I don't know. It's kind of some murky waters getting into this stuff. But like, if someone broke into your house, wouldn't you just not feel safe anyways? Like, regardless if anything happened to you physically or not, wouldn't you want to call the cops and say, "Hey, someone just broke into my house"?
Yeah, I would. But also at the same time, man, like when you're dealing with like sexual assault and stuff like that, I mean, that's like a traumatic thing. Human beings are, they're not all the same, man. They get to fly, fight, and freeze. Like some people will fight to the death. Some people like freeze up, can't do anything. Some people run.
she could have just been like, okay, I'm gonna just shove this deep down and never think about it again.
Could be, like, hey, I just don't want to live that shit or whatever.
But
on
the more cynical thing,
yeah, like we're gonna go flip side of the coin is
if they're just opening up civil suits, maybe they're just hoping for a cash payout without ever having to do anything at all.
Yeah, that's what I think is. I'm not saying necessarily these cases, but there's going to be a lot of that. But that
shit
happens. That's going to happen. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean,
that is going to happen.
If you pick somebody big like Tommy Lee, you're like, hey, you raped or you did something, you assaulted me, and something. He's gonna be like, I don't remember. He ain't gonna know.
Yeah, dude.
He's like.
And so I think a lot of it too.
He's been slinging it down for years. Like he's not gonna remember that. I don't think. Yeah. And even if he did, he's not gonna admit to it.
Well, like also too, man. Oh shit. What point was I gonna make? Oh yeah. So with it being like a civil suit, there's out of court settlements.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking is
probably kind of
like, oh, I'm gonna sue you for like $10 million, but you're gonna give me $1 million, and this
or hell, even anything.
This is all gonna go away.
It's free money if they didn't really do anything.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I can see that being a lot. Which, like, honestly, that shit kind of sucks, man, because it takes like power away from like actual victims and stuff.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm not saying these ladies aren't actual victims.
Yeah, we don't know, but it does. It paints a negative picture on everybody. It kind of hurts the entire scene or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, it's similar in it's. I don't know, like the boy cried wolf. Like we referred to that in the past, like for things like racism and sexism, like in the world, like that's a go-to thing that like the media and people use just to try to win an argument or whatever. But the thing is like so many people have used that so much that like it is watered down, like how serious people take the allegation of racism or sexism. You know?
I mean, it's just like the most recent thing off the top of my head is like the Russell Brand shit. Like that was blown up. He had like multiple accusations and all this shit. Nothing ever became of that.
Yeah.
And he's brought it up multiple times recently. He was like, yes, I was promiscuous in my days, but I never did anything like that. And he was like, if I had, obviously it would have been brought up before then. Like, this is just bullshit. Yeah. And nothing came, like, he was innocent.
Yeah. So, and then once again, man, like, unfortunately, like, enough of that shit happens. Like, real victims of real crimes are going to be, like, snuffed out,
That's why women it typically happens to women. Yeah. So the women that say that they were sexually assaulted that weren't, they need to be fucking tried and they need to go.
Oh, 100%. There was I just thought about it now you were saying it. There was a famous case. It was sometime, I believe, in the early 2000s. This woman claimed, I believe he was he's either high school or college. I think he was a high school kid. Mm-hmm. Raped her and all sort of shit, right? And he had like a full ride scholarship at like a really nice university.
I do remember that.
I can't remember if it was football or basketball, but it was some sport.
One of those, yeah.
And he went to fucking prison.
And he didn't do anything.
He didn't do a goddamn thing. And he was in there for 10 years. And then that fucking, for lack of better words, that bitch was babbling and joking around about it, bragging about how she lied and stuff, and someone recorded it, sent that shit to like his attorney or whatever, and then got him back in court, and eventually she caved, and on the stand she admitted, she was like, it never happened, I made it up. I can't remember what her motive was, and the dude just starts breaking down crying and shit. But that's 10 years of your fucking life you can't get
10
back.
years of his young life. Yeah. Like he had his whole he had his whole life ahead of him.
In that case, can he even like sue the state? You know what I mean? Because it's not the state's fault.
It's not that, it's her, yeah.
And then what does she have? Nothing, probably. You know what I mean? Like, so he misses out on the scholarship, on his education.
His entire life was ruined. Yeah, like his entire life was ruined.
You never fucking recover from that.
No.
So I just think that like, if you ever get caught like lying about that and you fuck someone's life up like that, and like in the justice system, man, like you should at a minimum get whatever the fuck they got.
At least,
man.
Yeah.
Or just make a fucking example. Just be like, hey, you're getting 25 to life. Don't fucking do that.
Actually just give them all that, because that, and again, like we said, like that takes away from the actual cases that do happen, because that shit does happen way too fucking often, and then that just that makes people not believe it as easily anyways. So it's just bad all the way around.
Yeah, dude. God damn, that shit pisses me off more I think about it, man. You're just like, fuck. Because like inherently, like, and I think it's just human nature, like you want to believe, I don't want to say the weak, but like the victims, the innocent. You know what I mean? You want to believe that
because you don't think that people are gonna lie about saying bad things happen to them. Normally people don't do that.
Yeah, and so like when it happens, like it's the ultimate like betrayal of like human decency and trust. Like, really like not just between individuals, but like in society as a whole. Like, there's a level of like a social contract we all like basically or take a part in, you know what I mean? And one of them is like, we have laws and we have courts and stuff like that, and those have to be upheld to the standard, right? And then when someone manipulates that and takes advantage of that, then that just completely makes you lose trust in the entire system.
Yeah.
So fuck that bitch, man. Oh god damn it! Now I'm getting mad. I see every episode I'm getting mad. I actually get like a little I feel like a little under the weather this episode, so I'm not screaming as much and stuff. But like now, like I'm starting to be like, start running outside. I don't know, fucking shooting off guns in the air or something.
Well, to continue this. Weirdo.
Yeah, I wanted to know if you wanted to get on this because of time wise. You want to go ahead and talk about, at least like touch the subject?
I want to touch on it just because it's a recent news and it needs to be talked about and I also feel like it needs to be brought up because it's not. I wasn't happy with the results.
Yes.
So we're talking about the Epstein name list that was released.
Flight logs, right?
No, this isn't flight logs. This is just the names that were in question in the specific court.
But they did release flight logs.
They did release flight logs, yes.
Okay. All right.
So this one is basically, I think it's over 100 names.
So is this his client list specifically for that island, or is this just a fucking phone book that he had in his office?
No, so here's according to this website, it says more than 100 people named in newly published legal documents linked to Jeffrey Epstein. So we'll pull up the list so people can see. But we've got, of course, how you spell your name? Giseline Maxwell.
That's what I say.
Prince Andrew, Clinton, Trump, Clinton, Hillary, Copperfield.
David Copperfield, the fucking magician?
Yeah. Alan Dershowitz, Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Gore, Stephen Hawking, Michael Jackson.
Stephen Hawking? Holy
just Kevin Spacey, George Lucas.
I shouldn't be I'm not laughing at any of the shit that happened. It's just the names are so wild to see, Stephen Hawking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But here's so you see these names and you automatically just think, okay, these
guilty
are terrible fucking people.
Yeah, guilty as sin, right?
But let me go back. So now here is the 943 pages of the court transcript. Now this is copies of emails that have been sent. This is a full court transcript that has transpired. All this stuff is listed. 943 pages of information. So, just the full court document.
It's just a fuck ton of legal correspondence.
Yeah.
Man.
So here's some emails and stuff. But Stephen Hawking was on the list. We'll go to search. We got Stephen Hawking pulled up.
Yeah.
He comes up on 8 results across 8 pages. So
what does that say? Holy shit, dude.
This is an email. So again, this is not saying that he did anything, although I have heard otherwise, but this is fucking hearsay. This is what this is just an email.
And this is an email from Jeffrey
Epstein himself to Giselle Maxwell.
So this is what Epstein was claiming, right? And this is a private correspondence between him and her.
Yeah, but this says you can issue a reward to any of Virginia's friends or acquaintances' family that have come forward to help prove her allegations are false. The strongest in the Clinton dinner and the new version in the Virgin Islands that Stephen Hawking's participated in an underage orgy.
Yeesh.
So this is kind of weird because this is saying that he's asking people to come forward and say that it's a lie. So does that mean that it happened? I don't know.
But it's still weird that would even be a conversation that's being had. You know what I mean?
On a side note, again, this is not funny, but it's Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking.
What is he going to do?
I saw something released online because I saw a little bit about this on X, man. And they were saying that, which we made a short about it, but it's actually, supposedly it's true, that he had a weird fetish when he would go down there. And he would have midgets, people with dwarfism, right? Attempt to work out and solve complex math problems, I guess while naked or whatever, on chalkboards that were too high for them to reach.
Were they underage midgets?
I don't know. what I saw didn't allude to that, and it kept like the whoever they was on the witness stand or whatever, they kept it anonymous or whatever, because they do like Jane Doe number whatever, and stuff to protect them. But yeah, so essentially, like, just because they're in the contacts list doesn't necessarily constitute they did a crime, but it's still fucking weird.
Okay, for instance, everyone's yelling about Donald Trump's ass being on here. Let's look him up real quick.
And Trump straight up has claimed he has never been to that island, and that he cut ties with Epstein years prior to his death.
So here we go. Donald Trump, 3 results, 3 pages. The bottom one is that's attorney Donald Morrill. That's not Donald Trump. So here's the first instance where Donald Trump is mentioned. Okay, here's an actual court transcript. So we're sitting there, and the pilots told me to go back and tell him we can't land in New York and that we're going to have to land in Atlantic City. Jeffrey said, great, we'll call up Trump and we'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll go to the casino. So
what are Trump's casinos?
Yeah, this has nothing. We'll call up Trump and we'll go to his casino. And by the way, I read the rest of this transcript, and the underage girl that is being interrogated, she wasn't even in the casino because she was underage and she was outside during the time.
Holy shit.
So she never saw Trump.
So all this shit where like a lot of people were like insinuating or inferring or even like hoping that Trump was going to be implicated in this.
Well, here's the total thing. So, and this is the other thing. This is they're asking this girl if she's ever given massages or met these people. Did they ask you to engage in sexual contact and you refused? Marvin McKinsky, I don't know that. George Lucas, no. Donald Trump, no. Did you ever massage Donald Trump? No.
That's interesting. Out of all those names, they go back to Trump twice.
What a fucking surprise.
Just flew right past.
Yeah,
George Lucas, the fucking guy who created Star Wars?
I don't know, man. It could be any
of these. It could be another George Lucas.
Any of these people could be weirdos, man. I don't fucking know. Yeah. But this right here.
Holy shit, dude.
So the people that are saying Donald Trump, I mean, this person literally just straight up says Donald Trump wasn't there and she never even, he wasn't there and she didn't massage the guy.
Yeah.
So.
And this is like legit court documents. This is.
Like here, document 1320 filed 1324, page 113 and 179.
It's got the case number and everything on it.
I mean, this is legitimate.
Holy shit, dude.
So, but the people that I have found that did shit, Prince Andrew, he's guilty. He's done some pedophile
because he walked away from his entitlements from the British monarchy.
Yeah, he left it all.
I bet he was highly encouraged to do so. You know,
Bill Clinton, he did it. Epstein was quoted. Epstein quoted as saying, "Yeah, old Bill likes him young."
Yeah, I remember seeing that shit, man. God damn it.
Then another guy, this lawyer, Alan Dershowitz. He is on there as having the person in question is saying that she knows that lawyer was that Epstein told young girls to have sexual relations with him on multiple occasions, and they were.
Is that the dude that got him off in 2006?
I'm not sure.
Because remember he was charged because he was like oh shit, what was his charge?
Right here, represented Epstein in 2006.
Yeah, he got charged, and he was like under house arrest in Florida for like a long time and stuff. God damn, I can't remember what it was.
And this,
it was some sexual shit. It was some weird shit, yeah. And they kept him off like a sex offenders registry and all this other stuff and everything, yeah.
Well, this Yuhad Barak, former Israeli prime minister, he's guilty also. I found stuff where he was doing some stuff. Let's check him out real quick. EHUD.
Kevin Spacey, Michael Jackson, huh?
Yeah.
Holy shit. He only comes up one time in this?
Yeah, but this was a different one, because this girl says no, she didn't meet him. Nobel Peace Prize winners, not to my knowledge. Naomi Campbell, and then this just goes through all Al Gore, no.
They just run through the list of names.
Yeah. Kevin Spacey, I may have already asked you, but you have met Kevin Spacey? No. Did you meet Governor Bill Richardson in New Mexico? I want to say that he was supposed to come to dinner in New Mexico. I don't know if I met him. I believe that he and Giselle had dinner separate from myself. Jean-Luc.
Who's
Jean-Luc Brunel is he's a French fashion model. He looks for a fashion model.
Yeah, that was the thing, because they had I remember an initial client list that was released or whatever from Epstein's case or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This years ago. It was one of the first ones that dropped. They had on there a lot of modeling and modeling agencies that were essentially escort fronts for escorts.
Yeah,
and shit. So I'm sure that I can't remember what the fuck I was watching, but they were talking about how like in the modeling world, there's a lot of weird shit that
like
goes
sex
on.
trafficking type stuff. It makes sense because they probably fly to like poor countries, poor towns, and pick attractive women, and they're like, oh hey, you're gonna be a model, come with us, and they're never seen again.
Oh, you want to live in New York City? Like, here, have fun. Oh, how do you like London? You know, like, you know, it's all fucked, man. This shit just like, it's a wild list of names, but like, God, man, this is such a fucking creepy subject.
So again,
man.
like, we still don't have all the information. They're still holding shit. They're still not letting the public know the full story.
Well, that's what gets me, man, is because everyone was concerned. They were like, we want the contact list, and then it was like, we want the flight logs. Rightfully so. Like, people want to know, right? Yeah. And then I started really thinking about it the other day. I was like, yo, fuck all that shit. None of that matters. Remember when they fucking raided that compound and the FBI was like, we got into his safe? Like, the entire mansion was rigged for audio and video, and they recorded everything down there? They know exactly what the fuck was going on.
Who was doing what, and where was it going, and like,
You know what I mean? So no one's talking about that. But it's like,
So they're basically just giving us a little taste to get us to shut up and forget about stuff.
Yeah, and you think like just throw some smoke on that shit, man. Like Cameron Diaz is on this list. I highly doubt that Cameron Diaz was flying
Chris
down there
Tucker,
to bang
RFK Jr.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know. I mean, could these people be psychos? Like
Possibly.
You know, and what I think too that Epstein was doing, and we kind of talked about this like with Michael Jackson, like with the allegations of like child sexual abuse and stuff like that. But what I think Epstein was doing probably is it was probably like an 80-20 split. You know what I'm saying? Like 80% of the time he would probably fly people down there, have parties, and it'd just be normal and it'd be cool, right? And then 20% would be the wild, like crazy shit, and all the psychos and stuff, and the people he was looking to exploit would come down there. But he would always have that 80% that could testify nothing ever happened.
I don't know. I feel like it probably started out innocent enough, and then it just got more depraved as time went on, and then he started just being known as that guy. Then people would only and then like the people that knew about it, if you were not into that, you would never talk to that dude again.
Fuck no,
like,
dude.
You would dissociate yourself as quickly as possible.
I think, honestly, dude, I think that's what Trump did, because the kind of the way he talks about it, like, something happened and he was just kind of like, fuck that guy. I need to
get out of this.
Yeah, like I'm getting away from this fucking dude, like right now, you know? And, I mean, he did the same shit with, like, the Clintons and stuff, too, man. And who knows? I mean, Bill was all tied up in that shit. Motherfucker was on that plane, like, what, 27, 28 times? Some shit like that?
I think it was more than that.
They could prove.
Yeah, at least that, You
know? So, because I looked at the flight logs, and they're vague as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It'll be like Jeffrey Epstein plus one female.
And again...
So it's all, like, convoluted, coded shit.
And again, that's his, like... He could have been flying them from New York to New Mexico.
Because he still was a financier. Like, I mean, he was still cutting deals and making money and shit. So, you know.
Like, people could have been on that plane and they never went to the damn island.
Yeah.
Like,
just went to fucking Florida or something to go buy some condos or some shit. I mean, who knows? But I really do think that he just layered in enough, like, innocent shit to cover up the crazy shit. You know
so,
what I mean?
Overall, like, I'm disappointed with this new information. It was not what I was expecting. It was not what I was hoping for. I want...
Tell us what's
proof.
in the fucking...
I want who did
the
what.
The videos and the audio, man.
Yeah,
the video and audio. You got all that shit. Like, why the fuck haven't any of those people been arrested?
The same reason they fucking won't show us the January 6th shit.
Shit, don't even get me started. Do you want me to go down a conspiracy realm real quick for this Epstein shit?
Go for it.
Real quick? Okay. So, a friend of mine, he was talking to me the other day, and he was like, man, I can't figure out, you know, why we're supporting all these, like, foreign, like, wars, like, stuff in Ukraine, shit happening in Israel and Palestine and stuff, which we've talked about at great lengths in previous episodes. And I was like, I can tell you exactly why we keep supporting Israel. And he was like, why? And I was like, Jeffrey Epstein. Remember when all that shit came out? And they were like, there's world leaders, there's, like, U.S. senators and congressmen that are on this fucking list that did shit. Those are the fucking people who push money to fucking Israel, and I think this is all tied into it, because when they searched his fucking safe, he had an Israeli passport, man. So people believe that he was like an operative for like Mossad, and basically was like blackmailing like scientists and like world leaders to always ensure that Israel will have a place in the world and be given money and shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think?
Anything's possible.
At this fucking point, I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, because we make so much satire, and like how many times... I know we talked about the Babylon Bee's done this shit, and we've had our issues where we've actually done this, like where we'll make like some satirical comedy, like comedic point, and then later that will come true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck kind of world we're living in? So I really honestly think, like, if you can just imagine it, it's either happened or going to happen. And I think that's just kind of the world we live in, man. So, but like you, man, I'm kind of disappointed with this new information.
Yeah.
So somebody's protecting some people, you know. But we'll see.
One day, maybe. The truth will be revealed.
We're still waiting on that fucking JFK files, you know what I mean?
How long did it take for them to admit aliens were real?
Yeah, no shit, like almost 100 years. Yeah. You know, so, and that's still kind of debatable. Dude, there's actual evidence about this, you know?
Maybe they're just waiting on every single person to be dead, and then they'll be like, oh, yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of that when they declassify shit, like in the intelligence communities and stuff. Like they'll just like, conveniently like let it slip and be like, "Oh yeah, but that guy's dead now."
Yeah, so there's nothing you can do.
You're just like, "Oh okay," you know. So could be a lot of that going on too. I wouldn't be fucking surprised, man. It's just dirty, man. We just need more transparency, man. And like also, I feel like citizens are starting to lose faith, like in the government,
as they should.
Mean? Yeah, like it's not like it's unwarranted. Yeah, and then you see like these fucking members of Congress typically, or you know, they'll like basically like. I don't want to say like they'll downplay and be, or like think like almost gaslight you if you question and be like, how could you question the Department of Justice? Well, I don't know.
You want to talk about how corrupt the fucking FBI and CIA are? Like, get out of here with that.
And fucking like Vivek Ramaswamy, man, guy's running for the Republican Party. I mean, he was just saying the other day, I watched some shit, like, he wants to eliminate the FBI and the ATF.
I know, I'm liking him more and more, man.
I know. Like, I was like, dude, this guy's
I have zero faith that he's going to win.
No.
But I like what he has to say.
Dude, as soon as he was like, I'm going to abolish the ATF and the FBI or whatever, like, I was like, there's no way you're going to win.
Yeah.
There's no way. Those powers that be are not going to let you fucking...
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Hell, they're probably going to do him in.
Yeah, right? So, like, FBI sniper borrowed a gun from an ATF agent and just, like, took him out or whatever.
They bought a 50 cal back from the Mexican cartel to back over here.
Oh, my God, dude. I don't know. I got hope, man. You know, I could see him, like, maybe if a Republican wins, I can potentially see him being, like, vice president, though.
That would be cool.
Yeah. But also, I don't know. If Trump comes back... Man, maybe because really like VR and Trump, like they've been talking some crazy shit about like exposing all kinds of crazy stuff. Now I know this like Epstein stuff is like in the court system and stuff like that, so it's really up to the courts. But I mean, they just want to like just declassify. Even RFK Jr. wants to do the same shit. Like he wants to declassify all his uncle's assassination shit. Like all documentation that the FBI has related around it. He was like, the American people deserve a right to know. And like, what do you? I mean, at this point,
that's old news. Like that should be released.
Yeah.
What does it have to do with anything?
60
current?
Fucking years ago or whatever?
What are people gonna do with that information now? Like,
I don't know,
besides just absorb it and. I mean, what? I guess they're gonna like hold a grudge and be like, "Oh, remember that shit that happened last time?"
Like the shooter is like now some like deputy director of some shit or whatever, and they're like that's what they're waiting on that dude to die. You know, like yeah, okay. Oh man, but I don't know, man. Do you have faith with this Epstein shit that we'll ever get to the fucking bottom of it? Like, will I ever let us see it?
Not in the near future.
Yeah. I don't know, man. There's definitely some weird shit going on with that. So, but you know me, man. I'm optimistic, so I like to think there are some good forces out there working for a just cause. You know, so hopefully this shit ends up in the right hands and they do the right thing or whatever. Because we need to know, man. Like if our leaders are doing shit like that and they're being compromised, especially by outside forces, we need to fucking know.
Yeah.
And I would be damned. Like, call me a fucking conspiracy theorist, man. But if any of those motherfuckers come out, say like members of Congress or whatever. And those are motherfuckers that kept voting to send all that money to fucking Israel. And it hypothetically came out that fucking Epstein was a fucking Mossad spy, intelligence operative. Dude, that's a can of worms. That is a nasty can of worms, brother. Because that's literally, like, that's... man, I don't use the word, man. I've used it a lot.
But at that point, they're going to be like, what are you going to do about it? I mean...
fucking life in prison, brother. The rest of your natural life.
For who?
Whatever fucking congressman
they're not gonna get charged with anything. They don't get charged with shit.
It's like those motherfuckers when COVID was hitting, and then they had that fucking that secret ass meeting up on Capitol Hill or whatever before they announced it to the public and all that shit. And then it was like 3 congressmen. I think one of them was a woman. I can't remember her name, but they immediately left and called their brokers and dumped all their fucking stocks. And I remember like one congressman that got in trouble. Like, well. not really in trouble, but like,
hey, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't even think there was even that. Like, it just came out.
It was like, he did it. Like, whatever.
Like, they estimated that it saved him like $1.4 million.
That son of a bitch.
And then everybody else,
all those other people lost their ass.
401ks, IRAs, they all just basically collapsed into nothing, for a short period of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, as long as you didn't sell, right? Hey, loss isn't real until you sell.
That's right.
So
words to live by.
None of that shit's gonna happen. And also, too, man, with that fucking insider trading shit that Congress does, that shit actually used to be legal before Obama. I believe it was his second term he made it illegal. Like, he advocated for a fucking bill. They fucking somehow passed that shit, and then he signed it into law. But members of Congress used to legally be able to trade on, and I quote, privileged information, in quotations. And that's how all those motherfuckers kept getting rich. Because you remember, everybody always wondered, like, oh, these guys make, like, $170,000 a year.
Yeah, they come into the position with, like, a net worth of, like, $250,000, $500,000, and they leave with, like, a multi, like, $20, $30, $40 million
like $50 million. It's like, how the fuck? Now, they're still doing dirty shit, obviously. Obviously, there's, like, information that's going around.
I mean, they just tell their their husbands or relatives and just do it that way.
Yeah, like Nancy Pelosi just runs it all through her husband or whatever, too. But you ever follow that page on... called Unusual Whales?
No.
This guy was pretty good, man. He recently made a post where essentially no one was following his page or whatever, and then COVID happened. And all he does is he just like analyzes like trends in markets, and he goes through trades or whatever. And he's been able to prove like members of Congress are doing dirty shit. He can't say exactly like where they got their information, but he can just prove like irregularities in their trading and stuff.
Because time and time again, they do better than the general population.
Shit, dude, Nancy Pelosi, like, statistically, like, based on her rate of return, is a better stock trader than Warren Buffett and George Soros. Her, not her husband.
She's just got those skills, man.
She's just that good, I guess, right?
She feels it in her bones.
A fucking walking lizard, dude. I can't stand that woman, dude. She's so full of shit. Dude, whenever, like, what the tipping point for me, man, was when, I know it's a sensitive subject for some people, but when George Floyd, all that shit went down with George Floyd, right? And then, like, all the fucking Democrats, they got those like kente cloths or whatever, like, and then they went and they were like taking a knee like in solidarity for it and all this shit.
But yet they want to yell about cultural appropriation.
Yeah, dude, and it was like the most pandering bullshit ever.
I do remember that. That was
and I was like, yo, fuck this bitch.
That was like cringeworthy on every aspect. That was terrible, man.
Her and Chuck Schumer in there, like, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh god, are we securing our future right now? And it's like, whatever, dude. Fuck right off.
When you know damn well if they're crossing a black man on the street, they get across that road like that.
Yeah. Dude. Chuck Schumer's the kind of guy, like, he locks his doors. It's like that movie. You ever seen the movie Office Space?
Yes. Yeah,
when that dude's driving to work, and then he's like, I can't remember.
He's jamming to some gangster rap.
Yeah, and then, like, the black dude walks by or whatever, and then he, like slowly
locks the door, and then turns the music down, and then when he walks by, he, like, cranks it back up.
That's literally Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, dude.
100%.
Oh, but I don't know, man. So, I mean, I'm optimistic, but I do think, I don't know, it's 2024. It is an election year, too. So things are going to get fucking crazy. Oh, sorry, to go back to the Unusual Wells guy. So he started, like, posting all this information, man. And it's, like, really good, like, stock advice and shit. And he has a whole, like, platform where it's, like, follow Nancy Pelosi's trades. And people will mimic, like, her portfolio. And they're making great returns on their shit and stuff. But,
I've heard they kept trying to shut that down.
Probably. I no doubt. But he talked about how, after COVID, he got extremely popular. And I believe his site, his page alone, I believe he said was responsible for something like 9 laws getting passed or some shit like that to like restrict like it all dealt with like financial stuff, but one of them was like to restrict like some shit in Congress. Or I think it was a bill that Nancy Pelosi proposed where members of Congress could not trade stocks while they hold office. Which I actually kind of fucking feel should be a thing, dude.
Oh, they can't trade at all?
I mean, maybe they do something like they do like the TSP in the military where it's like you get these 5 basic funds, you can choose between this, but it's managed by a third-party company you have no fucking influence in, and it's just mutual funds. But like they shouldn't be able to be like, I know there's going to be a chip shortage or whatever. Like I got this inside information. Let me buy $3 million of Nvidia stock or whatever like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then watch that shit go up fucking 300% in 1 year. So, I don't know. But who fucking knows, man? It's all fucking tied together. It's all fucked anyway half the time. So
Illuminati.
Illuminati. Maybe Katt Williams was right, dude.